Thank you so much for coming and letting me interview you.
You're welcome.
The first question is, what was your background for education?
First of all, I went to Ohio State and I did my 4 years of undergrad and got my degree. It's a Bachelor of Science in Education. And I started teaching right away. So back in my day, which was a long time ago, but I graduated from Worthington High School, which is now Thomas Worthington, and I went straight to Ohio State, graduated in like three and a half years, started substituting to finish out that, from March until June. And then I got my full-time job that following fall, and I worked 30 years in Worthington.
What grades did you teach?
I mainly taught fourth grade, and it's hard for me to remember, but I think it was maybe 21 or 22 of my years were in fourth grade. I also taught third grade for maybe 4 years, and I know for 2 years I was fifth grade because I moved up with my fourth graders and became their teacher in fifth grade. And I did that for 2 years, which was awesome. I loved doing that. And then I also was a guidance counselor for 2 years. I stayed at the school that I taught at, and I was a teacher turned counselor. But when you're a guidance counselor in the elementary schools, you have two schools. So I shared Worthington Estates and Worthington Hills 1 year. My second year as a guidance counselor, I stayed at Worthington Estates and they moved me to Evening Street. So I did that. And then I went back to the classroom.
What was your favorite topic that you taught?
In fourth grade, you mean my favorite subject or the favorite, did you say topic?
Yeah.
Ohio history was probably my favorite in fourth grade. We did a huge unit on that. But in third grade, it was Worthington, because you study Worthington and then you have your Worthington Day where they, you dress up and you go up to the village green and all that. But there's lots of things that I love teaching about, but probably Ohio in fourth grade and Worthington in third grade.
What was the hardest thing about being a teacher?
The hardest thing about being a teacher was probably when situations would arise, like with discipline and those type of things, because obviously that's going to happen when you're working with a group of boys and girls, and you just always want to make sure you heard all sides of the story and that you were fair and consistent in whatever consequences had to happen. But probably if I really had to stop and think, that would have been like when I would go home, maybe a little dejected. It typically was because of something that didn't really have anything to do with teaching, but that's part of teaching, is just dealing with maybe lunchroom problems or friendship problems or an incident that happened on the playground. And then that just always kind of made me sad, because somebody's always going to be sad with consequences or whatever. And I just wanted to always try and make sure I heard everything, or if I needed to talk to parents, or bring parents in about it. Fortunately, that didn't happen often.
What would you say to someone who might want to become a teacher?
I think it would be wonderful, because there's always a need for wonderful teachers, and there's always going to be kids, so you have job security, along that line. I do think, though, and this is kind of getting off topic maybe a little bit, but there have been a lot of changes that have gone on the past few years with state teachers' retirement system. And so they've made a lot of changes as far as, for example, when I started, I told you I was right out of college and I taught for 30 years and I retired. Now I wouldn't be able to do that because I would be too young. And so I would have to work, I believe, until I'm 60 before I could retire. So that has kind of made some changes, I think, in some present teachers with their retirement plans. They've had to maybe look at things a little bit differently. And I know Ohio State has done things differently too. For example, my degree, I could have taught from first grade to eighth grade, but now you have to specialize. You have to say, I'm going for a degree from kindergarten, I believe, through second, or the early education or the middle education, which when you go to apply for a job limits you, because then you're not certified in different areas. But like I say, I mean, I loved what I did. I absolutely loved it. I miss the kids. It's a lot of work, but as it should be. I mean, you need to put in a lot of work to be a good teacher. But I would never discourage, you from that profession, because I think you, Anna, would be awesome, in working with kids. And there's going to always be a need for, awesome teachers. So I think, you'll just need to look into it when it comes that time for you to prepare and see like what your options are and what you want to do, what part of the education plan. And all colleges are different too, in what they're asking. But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of changes from when I started to what it is now.
Thanks for coming and being able for me to interview you. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that you got to teach for so many years because you enjoyed it so much.
Thank you so much, Anna. This was really fun. I appreciate your asking me.